Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another breakfast with Blaha. Today I'm having Greek yogurt, frozen cherries, almond butter. All right, let's talk about strength standards and the way people misuse them. Uh, and I'm not going to get into body weight multipliers because we already know those don't work, they're silly. Only people who do well on body weight multipliers are people who are just insanely, ridiculously strong or really short people. You can't use those otherwise because a short guy is always going to beat you. And it's just basic physics as to why that is. But when we look at charts, we will look at these strength standard charts. And I'll get people all the time who say, well, I'm at this body weight, so I need to be at this strength to be an advanced lifter on these exercises. And it's like, you're not using the chart correctly. The chart's not used to plot future goals. Those are identification charts to tell you where you are. You know, you'll get people who do that, and they're still a relatively inexperienced lifter. And they don't understand. But they're like, but I weigh 170 pounds at 5'9". How do you think you're going to be an advanced lifter weighing 170 at 5'9"? I don't mean internet 5'9". I mean real life, with your shoes off, measured by a doctor or by someone else measuring it correctly. 5'9", average height in America. Well, do you think 170 pounds is big? Not 190, not 200, 170. Are you contest shredded? Like, are you shredded to the bone? Are you dieting down for a bodybuilding show? How are you 170? What? You're 170 because you're not big. Why are you using that as your future strength standard? Do you plan on not gaining muscle? And if you don't plan on gaining muscle, how are you going to gain strength? Size equals strength potential. Size equals strength potential. So people say, well, I want to find out what my limits are. How strong can I get? How strong will put me in these categories? And it's like, but you need to be accounting for the muscle growth. You need to be accounting for the fact that you're going to have to bulk. You might be 170 at 14% body fat now, but you're going to have to bulk. Like even the future body weights you reach to, you're probably going to have to go 10 or 20 pounds heavier than those and cut down to those if you want to get close to your maximum size. So even if you're looking at something and saying, well, I need to get to 190, well, you might need to get to 200 or 210 and then trim down to the 190. All right, well, where does that factor into your chart? And here's what I would suggest. If guys want to know where they rank up, just use the chart. But you don't use the chart and go, okay, I'm in late novice. I'm in intermediate category. I need to get to elite. Well, what's your body fat look like? Are you at a healthy body fat? And you're talking about making that big of a jump. How much muscle do you think you're going to have to gain? And how heavy are you going to have to get to and then trim down to later to get back down to the body fat you're at again now? You're going to have to bulk. You're not going to be the same body weight. So why don't you guys look at your potential? In other words, go to a fat-free mass index chart. All right, go to one of those calculators, plug your numbers in. If it spits back a 22 fat-free mass index, you know that you have enormous amounts of muscle left to gain. Why? Well, 25 is usually very genetically gifted people who put in many, many years of training, at least at reasonable body fats. What about 24? 24 is obtainable. All right? You train for a decade really hard. in your average genetics, you could probably reach close to a 24 fat-free mass index while at 12, 13, 14% body fat, right? That's reachable. But a lot of guys will look at that. It's like, well, plug in where you think you are now. Be realistic about your body fat. Plenty of guys are 20% body fat now and think that they're 15. No, be honest with yourself. Be honest about it. Plug those numbers in. Plug those numbers in. And this is only for the drug-free guys, mind you. Keeping in mind, I have a lot of listeners who are not. Half of people who take training seriously aren't. Well, you guys need to be plugging these numbers in too. Figure out how much bigger can I get? Or what's my upper limits here? But those charts will tell you that. And if you look at that chart, or those calculators, and you plug in your numbers and you go, okay, well, this is what my body fat is. Well, what would a 24 fat-free mass index be at the same body fat percentage? And you start sliding the scale and you start realizing, wait, I can put on another 15 pounds. Oh, talking about getting to 25. Right? You might get to 25, not genetically gifted if you're at a higher body fat. Plug that in. And by higher, I don't mean morbidly obese. I'm not talking fat. I mean, if you're willing to be 20% body fat, okay? Well, plug those numbers in. And before long, a lot of guys go, oh, well, this says that I would be 20 pounds heavier. It's about 9 kg for my people who don't use freedom units. I could be 25. I got to be 30 pounds heavier to be 18% body fat at 25 fat-free mass index. So why are you using your current body weight? Why are you using your current body weight? It's not useful. Use that to look at any of those strength charts. Say, hey, how do I stack up right now? Not to look at in the future, because you're going to have to gain muscle to get appreciably stronger. And yet people say, oh, that's not always true. What about technique and neuromuscular efficiency? Okay, yeah, that stuff all matters. But it's not the biggest factor. Hypertrophy is the biggest factor for you as an individual. And if you want to get appreciably stronger from where you are now, when you start talking about moving whole categories on those charts, that's not 5 pounds of muscle growth. Okay? You're usually looking at possibly 10 pounds of muscle growth to go from one category to the next. So if you're over here as a novice and looking at advanced, you better be looking at putting 20 pounds of muscle on over where you're at now. So what do you weigh right now? Right? You guys see the point? What do you weigh? You stack another 20 pounds of muscle onto that. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.